Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Faisal Masood, and I will be doing my NLP project on crime data analysis in the city of Los Angeles. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my project, my presentation. So again, crime data analysis for the city of Los Angeles. And again, I'm Faisal Masood. So first time taking the course. Learned a lot, fantastic. And by doing the analysis, a lot of things came to light, which I would have never thought. So definitely great value for me to do this. And the fact that I've lived here all my life, born and raised in Los Angeles, it's good to know what is really happening out there. So with that being said, let's get started. Introduction. So the purpose for this project was to go ahead and analyze the crimes committed from 2010 to 2019 in the city of Los Angeles. Where I obtained the data was from Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD. That's where I obtained all the data. And what I was really looking to understand while doing this project was the types of crimes that were committed in the span of 9 years, the location of the crimes, which neighborhoods were impacted in the city of LA, time when the crime was occurred, and the age and gender of the victims that were part of the act. So the background behind this is the data set that reflects the incidents, as I mentioned, illustrates from 2010 through 2019. The data was provided by LAPD. The website, you can actually go to, it's Mayor Garcetti's website, and on there's a link where LAPD provides you a download of information. The data was transcribed from its original crime reports into a typed paper. So prior to the LAPD going electronically in their cars, they were actually writing all these reports as they do now. They write some of these reports on a piece of paper. So after that, that was all transcribed into a computer format. And the purpose of this is to really provide inferences and draw decisions on the severity of the crimes and locations, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to study it and understand it a little bit better. And more importantly, want to take a look at how can we improve the public safety in the zones that may be impacted, that may require more resources and patrolling to mitigate some of those crimes. So that's background. Here you'll see, this is the data set that I was working with, and this is just a snapshot of it. The data set consisted of 2.1 million rows and 28 columns. So I was dealing with a lot of data. It was very difficult to keep it organized, but I just wanted to really take a look at those 4 bullet points that we talked about in order to understand the crimes that were happening in the city of LA. Some of the observations was once I was looking at the data set was actually updated on a weekly basis by LAPD. So my cutoff was from 2009 through 2019. I thought that was sufficient enough for my purpose of research that I wanted to do and understand. The data set file, like we talked about, is 2.1 million rows and 28 columns that illustrated all the crime incidents. And then one of the packages that I used for coding was pandas to help me with the analysis. So some of the analysis that I performed while coding, the output that I got from the data set was the first one that we wanted to take a look at is where are these incidents happening? Where are all these crimes occurring? So what we found out is when I was coding, I wanted to take a look at the top 10 locations of these incidents. So looking at the 10 incidents, we can see the top 3, or at least the top 2, are basically South LA. And with that being said, the third one is in North Hollywood. So South LA consists of 1.8 million crimes that were committed in the span of 9 years. As you can see, the neighborhood locations are on the y-axis and the quantity is on the x-axis. So let's go to the next one. So the next information that we were after or trying to understand during this research was the type of crimes that were committed in these areas or these locations. So again, as you can see the top, again, I wanted to take a look at the top 10. That was basically the baseline I wanted to establish. Looking at the top 3, you'll see that there's simple assault, which is battery, as the top crime committed, about 1 million. And then you have burglary for vehicles, and then you've got general burglary, vehicles stolen, and then you've got some petty theft, which was under $950, is basically your top crimes committed in the locations that we discussed, which were South LA and North Hollywood. Okay. Moving on, so wanted to understand what time these were happening. So I wanted to kind of dig a little bit deeper, even though we wanted to go ahead and do more NLP around the location of these crimes, but I wanted to understand a little bit more by digging deeper. So what we found is that majority of these crimes are being committed in the evening hours. So you can see midnight was basically 1 million crimes were committed on midnight. And then moving down, you'll see that they were committed around 6 p.m. and then 8 p.m. So really from 6 to midnight is basically where your window of crimes go up. There's a spike in that. Okay. The next one we wanted to understand, okay, who is it? Is it a particular, age group that these are coming from? And so what we found out that 25 through 30-year-old victims were in age group victims were part of the victims that were committing these crimes. Now you'll be probably asking, what does that 0 mean? The 0 means really when LAPD went on site and they arrested this individual, they either didn't have ID or didn't furnish ID. So that's why you see 0 going all the way out to about 160,000 incidents. But really, on a whole, if you take a look at it at a holistic level, you can see that the trend is really, the demographics is from 25 years old to 30 years old. Next, we wanted to take a look at what gender it was. And we found out that basically majority of these crimes are being committed by male. And again, you'll see females really not far behind committing the acts. And then the X and H are genders that wanted to claim themselves as not being part of a male or female gender category. Okay. So the conclusion of the research paper, which I felt came at a surprise to me after learning all this, is that, again, the 4 takeaways that I had based on the graphs was in a span of 10 years, the highest number of crimes committed are in South LA and North Hollywood. Wanted to recommend higher frequency of patrolling in those neighborhoods and public patrolling to mitigate those crimes. The second takeaway was battery, burglary for vehicles, and burglary for just regular for greatest number of occurrences. Again, recommending a robust code enforcement of parking hours and locations, higher frequency of policing on hotspots, and doing a lot of community policing, such as neighborhood watch, which would help the community to bring down some of those crime rates. The third takeaway was the time of occurrence that we talked about. We really looked at, the evening hours going from 6 to 8 p.m. with the midnight spiking up tremendously on the graph. And again, it's really recommending that the LAPD has more of a graveyard, a greater number of police officers on graveyard to help the community fight some of these crimes or to minimize some of these crimes. And last but not the least, males were the most dominant victims committing crimes, and that group was from 25 to 30 years old. And again, the recommendation is to really get that age category involved in community and house watch, assist with with community education, and have more sheriff and police volunteer opportunities for people to get involved and learn from the community and learn from the police officers. There's a little bit of Q&A. In the appendix, my code is listed in the back, which you can see, very nicely well written. nothing too complex. Wanted to do a little bit of matplots, but unfortunately I ran out of time and I couldn't figure out the coding of it. But I plan on looking at that at a later time or once the course is concluded, so I can go ahead and work on that. So learned a lot. It was fantastic. Opened up my eyes to quite a few things. Loved it, and I'm planning on doing it again. And thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you listening. And have a good day.